Hey guys, welcome back to Mike's Virtual Garage. Good to see you guys again. We're back. We're on the 4000 today. Got some good news. I got all the parts needed for the fog light harness, which we'll go over today. As you can see, the car has the European spec fog lights and turn signals, which are hooked to the rebar, which is what you need to run these. These have been on there for about 3 years, and I've been kind of slacking at getting the fogs working. Turn signals work, of course. So I did some research originally on fog light harness itself. I was going to make my own, but wanted to take a different route to see how some of the cheaper Amazon alternatives worked out. So today I'll go over the harness with you, what I got. What I'm going to use for my install, which might be different than yours, depending on using the switch that came with the packet or using a factory switch. So let's over the workbench, see what we got, and we'll go from there. Let's get to it. All right, so we're at the workbench, and I'll show you guys everything I got for my harness. I'll put the links to what I have down below. So if you're interested, feel free to snag one yourself. I went with this, let's say it's Mick Tuning harness. Off-road light bar use only. There's always that disclaimer there. It comes with a bag with instructions, some extra fuses, some connectors as well. And also I disconnected it, but it does come with its own on-off switch as well. So if you're wanting to use that in layout of the factory switch, feel free. Initial impressions, it's pretty decent. It's got a relay here. It's got your hookups for your fog lights, of course, fuse, and then your connections for the switch itself. Now, it's pretty nice to have also this connector back here, which will go into the interior compartment, so that I can do some wiring outside of pulling everything through. So I kind of like that. The only thing I don't like is the shiny wrap they have on here. So I'd like to put some Tessa tape on there to just make it not stand out as much. But overall, I did a quick test from a routing perspective from the battery to where the relay is gonna stay and into the interior. So it looks like it's going to work out pretty good. Also got some brand new bulbs as well. I think the ones in there are okay, but always a good idea to start with some fresh bulbs. Also, depending on what you're going to do, you can use the switch that came with the kit. No problem with that. It lights up. Works probably just as good. I will be installing one of the factory fog light switches in the dash under the headlight switch, and also a factory, this is just a defrost connector, fits in there no problem. You'll have to do some rewiring, of course, with the pins and get a bit creative there, but when it's all done, it should look factory and work as such. Now, one thing in terms of wiring, this is going from the battery to the relay to the switch. As of now, I'm not going to integrate this into the actual headlight circuit. So be mindful if you're going to do this. High beams come on, the fog should go off. I'll be careful with that. So disclaimer for you guys, if you're going to do that, there is a way, of course, to make that work so the fogs flip off when you turn your high beams on. But overall, kit looks pretty good. Install should be pretty easy peasy. We'll take you guys along with what we can show you. But with that being said, let's get to work. Hey guys, it is day 2, but it's about a week later. Back on the Audi and back with the fog light harness. After filming last time, I thought it'd be a good idea to quickly put in new fog light bulbs. That turned into a horrible deal, and I'll show you why. Let's go to the workbench really quick. All right, here we got the fog light assembly from, this is a spare one I have, so it doesn't matter, but easy to get these things off. There are 2 screws, one each side. Driver's side, no problem. Pull it right out, new bulb in, easy. Passenger side, this screw here decided to just break in half. So that was a lot of fun. Had to, well, thankfully it broke off halfway down, so the lens came off no problem. But then getting the piece out was a little difficult, only because there's only so much room down there, and it's pretty tight. So I tried for a bit and then gave up, because I actually snapped the whole screw off flush with the back part here, and that was no good. So thankfully the bumper on these, especially with European stuff, is pretty quick to take off. So I took that off and then worked out from there. Now you might ask, why can't you just get that from the back side? This one isn't a good example because all the screws are out, but these screws here that hold the backing part to the rebar, they're very tight up against the body, and I tried to get at it with a bit and one of the stubby handle guys, but that did not work out too well. But the good thing is that bumper comes off easy, and then actually when I got it off the car and look at the back, I noticed that one of the plugs was different on the driver's side. It was this guy. So I'm glad I took this off, because I didn't realize that there were two different kind of plugs I had for the fog light assemblies themselves. So I took it off, did some wiring with putting this kind of connector on the driver's side. So we have light connectors, and we should be good with that. And then I got I had a spare assembly for the passenger side. I put that on, and then put the bumper back in, and then we're good to go. So that took up a bit of time. And then last night I worked on the actual switch itself. Hopefully that's good to go. I'll have more, I'll say, feedback about how the whole harness works out after I'm done. But for now, I'm gonna head to the car. I'm gonna route it, and then just do a quick test with the engine bay to make sure everything works. And then we'll be back with hopefully some footage of everything working. Let's get to it. All right, guys. Update for you. I got the wiring harness in, routed. Got the switch in. I did a quick test before wrapping things up and putting extra harness through the interior. It works. It's awesome. So it took a bit longer than I wanted to. The routing up to the front of the car is pretty easy. I just went along the driver's side fender, underneath the coolant bottle, and then up and around in front of the engine. That part's super easy, so no problem there. What I didn't want to do was, mess up or extend the harness at all. I wanted this to be a video about, buying something and putting it in with little to no modification at all. So the tougher part was back by the firewall by the battery. When I laid out originally, it looked really good. But when you get wires, kind of snaking around, it's kind of tight fit. So it actually looks really good. The relay is right kind of underneath and to the left of the power steering reservoir. I wanted to put it directly on the battery bracket, but the two wires going to the battery be a little tight, so I got creative and then snuck the relay back there. So interior stuff is pretty simple. No problem there. There is a grommet that is right underneath the clutch master that I use. Actually was already a hole was already in it from a previous Clifford alarm system, not mine. So that was already had a hole in it, so that was really good, pretty easy. The connector, there's a connector that goes in between, kind of splits the harness up, and I snuck that through the grommet there, and then on the interior, you just pop off the under dash tray. It's like 4 screws, and then for the cluster itself, take out the surround. That's 4 Phillips screws, I did pull one screw from the cluster that holds it on just to pull it back a bit so I could snake the wire down from the plug. So that's it. It took a bit longer than expected, but you do these kind of things, you want to take your time, be meticulous, don't want to rush anything, and pretty happy with the result. Now I mentioned this, I think, in the first part of the video. The fogs are independent of anything else in the car, so I can turn these on and off as I want, and they will not shut off with the brights. So if you do this, keep that in mind. There's probably an easy way to rig that up to where they'll flip off with the high beams, but not me. We live dangerously here. So aside from that, fogs work, everything works. I did a little bit of investigation with the hazard switch. Only one side worked, and it was just the relay, so I fixed that while I was under there. Aside from that, pretty good. A little late here, so I'm not going to get a chance to drive or anything, but I'll put a link to the kit I got down below. The one thing I will say, not sponsor anything or anything. This is just an honest review. Haven't used it for at all yet, but I had to, for the plug, I had to extend the ground wire. When I stripped it back, it was pretty thin. I guess to be expected for how cheap this is, price-wise. So if you're gonna go in there and chop up the part that has the switch, you want to run the factory switch. Be aware that if you're gonna buy this, but putting a thicker gauge wire on there and soldering up, that's no big deal. Just something I came across, want to pass along. But aside from that, I taped everything up with Tessa tape. I got rid of the shiny. I didn't get rid of. I just taped over the shiny part of the sheathing there for the harness. Looks pretty factory. So pretty impressed with how things went. So another project down. It took me about 3 years to get this done. So I know a lot of people are like, the fogs work. They work. Nope, but now they do. So happy with that. Happy with the result. I'll keep you guys updated if anything happens. But for now we'll motor on and get to the next project with the car. Winter's coming up, so we'll do oil change, get the speed lines off of here, get the Ronals on there, and do some cleaning for wintertime. Won't know how much I'll drive in the wintertime, but if there's enough snow on the ground for some fun, we'll be quattroing and we'll document that. So you guys got any questions, post them down below. As always, follow me on Instagram for stuff that's going to hit before YouTube. But with that, I want to thank you guys for tuning in today, and we'll see you next time. Take care.